Is that really what you say? For real? Yeah, you say. But did you really do it? Did you really get it? You about to drive me crazy. You really know how to treat a lady. What was the point of all that risk? When bought me that ring?
Good day to y'all, gentlemen. Here in the Lion's Den with yours truly, the Lion of all trades. Welcome back to another stream. Good day, good day. Todo bien, mis amigos. Buenos días. Buenos días, buenos días. Órale. ¿Qué es lo que hay? ¿Cómo te fue el día hoy? How was your day today? Let me know. I'm just hopping in onto the stream, chilling with you guys and trying to catch up to what has occurred. What has occurred this week so far in the markets? You know, when I'm Zion. And a few tickers that have been mentioned this week earlier, since Monday. One of the mentions, thanks to and also shout out to Richard. I did post it earlier this morning, giving him the shout out. And I really appreciate him putting us on game, and you know, calling out two tickers, and one of them that actually Big JR had mentioned about 7-8 months ago. So once again, shout out to Richard. Nieswender, Richard Nieswender, 2401. He mentioned here, and I can show you on the screenshot. Damn. Oh, they messed up my screenshot. Great. Thanks, YouTube. Anyways, yeah. I could probably pull that comment from earlier. Let's see. I'll probably show you. So two of those tickers were MTEN, and the other one was SDOT. If you guys are familiar with those tickers, let me know in chat. He put MTEN on radar Monday night, and that was before the explosion to the upside, which was insane. Here's the comment right here, and he made off with 35K off of the big run on MTN. Also, he mentioned AZIs has good potential to hit 11 to 15 or to go higher. Also, to put on our radar, not financial advice, ACCL, AHMA, SLGB, SUNE, which I am very familiar with, Sun Nation, I believe that's the company's ticker symbol, and PAVS. So yeah, once again, shout out to him. We're gonna check those ticker symbol. We're gonna check those tickers in just a few moments. Yes, you told me, yeah, Johnny. I remember that was actually that very night, Monday night. You cussed out your supervisor on a text by accident. You probably almost butt dialed him and everything. And hopefully he understood that it was a accident. And of course, explaining to him that you're not that type of person. You wouldn't expect anything like that to come out from you, because you guys never had any issues, right? Just to clear the air and to clear the drama. It sucks that things like that has to happen. And there's just a lot of misunderstanding. But anyway, yeah, hopefully you got that taken care of. But yeah, can we talk about the craziness which is the market? Right here I have beside each other the SPY and oil, crude oil. And we've been on oil for a very long time, and simply I don't know why we feel bullish, but this is the daily chart on crude oil, and just by looking at the timeline of this chart, this is a big deal. You've seen how much this has gone up before in the past, and especially during conflict, geopolitical tensions, and all of the above. And then comes a period where there's nothing going on. Everything starts to quiet down, and then eventually it bottoms out. But then when another problem arises, another geopolitical tension, out of nowhere, could change the landscape of and also the effects of the prices in oil. As you can see here, you can see how much volume has gone into WTI crude oil in this chart. The volatility in prices ever since the conflict started in Iran, and coming from a low of $56 a barrel to reaching as high as $119, almost $120 per barrel, and that was back in March 9th of this year. Then we had some swings left and right, ranging since then, and now we're faced with this potential pattern, a wedge. I don't know what you would call it, guys, but I see some type of bull flag here unfolding, and this looks like it's telling us that sooner or later there will be a breakout. And here, just looking closer into the daily chart for crude oil, you can see somewhat of a double bottom playing out here, and it's clear as day. We see it take place. We don't know if it's going to continue to range until it finds an opening here within a few days, and then a break out of this this pennant, or it could break out sooner than that. We wouldn't know the situation until it happens. Also, on top of that, we do have some. There's data that's about to come out tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning, which is PPI, month over month. Then on the 12th is the Michigan Consumer Sentiment prelim, or whatever that stands for. And then next week on the 16th of June, you have housing starts and building permits prelim. So all of that, given all the given factors, I would say that, somehow, in some way, this would probably affect the prices in the market, including commodities and such. So we would have to wait until tomorrow morning, 8:30 in the morning Eastern Time. That'll probably be like 5:30 Pacific in California. And we'll have to see what happens. But in my hypothesis and the way I'm looking at this daily chart on crude oil, this is actually getting pretty tight, and therefore, if also the RSI follows through that, hypothetical technical analysis that I'm able to observe from watching this, there could be a chance of this breaking back over $95 a barrel. Heck, we could even see this back over 100 if this were to break out and then something else starts to unfold. And at the same time I'm talking about this, we do have a situation more than an hour ago where on X.com, Watcher Guru reported that Iran announced a full shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz following U.S. strikes. And then almost an hour ago, Eric Daugherty, I don't know how to say that last name, I'm sorry if I butchered it, posting here, breaking, Iran is now begging President Trump is in the Situation Room with Vice President J.D. Vance during the quote-unquote ongoing bombing campaign against Iran. 49 Tomahawk missiles launched. Iran just called Trump and said, please stop bombing. And Trump says, we'll bomb the shit out of them tomorrow night if they refuse to sign the good faith deal. Fox, U.S. fighter jets are operating over the skies, taking out radar and air defense systems. Quote, this is all taking place as the Iranians try to get the U.S. to stop the bombing campaign. Says Trump is going full tough guy mode and he can actually back it up. So because of that is where the oil surge would come in place or come in play with the way that this chart is looking like. And it would make sense. It would make sense into the days leading into the strikes and afterwards, if things do get worse and the bombings continue, then, and also the full closure of the Strait of Hormuz, I would say, in my opinion, this would lead to more surging in prices at the gas stations and crude oil in general, and yeah, it's gonna be a mess. And if that happens, you'll definitely see the overall markets, the indices, also become affected by that. As you see, the SPY futures here on the daily chart, it has peaked out. And a lot of volume to the downside has occurred since the 5th of June, last Friday. A big candle, and I'm going to zoom in so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. We're talking about a 2.37 million volume drop, a huge sell-off, making new day lows, and it looks like it's not stopping from there as it broke down from what it seems to be a bear flag, and now on the 4-hour chart we're facing a bearish trend. As you can see, this line over here where it switches from yellow to red, as that indicates from what it shows from bullish to bearish. And so the trend is bearish, and it actually the price action actually fell right below the 200-day period EMA. So that even further confirms that we're now seeing the SPY on a downtrend, a full downtrend. It is a little bit oversold, but if these things tend to continue, therefore there might be even more sell-offs on the way. And not only that, but you also have Bitcoin dropping back down to where it was from a high of 64,000 back to nearing 61,000, maybe below. But we'll just have to see, because this market is unpredictable. It's unpredictable. Again, you always base your facts on news, whatever news that's going on. You reference that. Of course, in all speculation, and we just have to see what happens. But anyways, let me catch up to the chat. I know Johnny has been explaining to me the situation right now. It's I still don't want to talk to the guy. I might do it again. He was telling me that how come I didn't do enough work order or something like that, and not. It really got me pissed off. Oh, okay. I think we both selling a what? I think we both selling a Jamie warrants again. Not sure, because he said only on working trading hours, something like that, on Webull. Well, if it's come to my attention that, well, since you showed me the screenshot a few weeks ago, was it over a week ago, or I forgot when it was exactly, but you did show me that, and that you weren't able to buy. You weren't able to buy GME warrants. So if I were to go and buy right now, let's see. So it does show. Let's see. If I press on buy, just know that you can't buy warrants during extended hours, like pre-market and aftermarket and overnight sessions. It's only good during regular hours. So again, warrants are like your options, and they only trade within regular hours from 9:30 a.m. Eastern time till 4 p.m. Whatever it is in your time in California. So you'd have to follow that. If I were to click on buy, it says this order cannot be placed at this time. Please try placing a limit order with overnight trading only instruction. Alright, so I wasn't able to do that. So therefore, you can't really do anything now. But as you can see, there is still orders coming through. So therefore, I think that you can still buy warrants on Webull, just only when the market opens and before market closes. And that is not financial advice, by the way. So hopefully you got that, Johnny. If you're listening. What we got over here? Oh, okay. I'll give myself a like. Yay. It's interesting to see Bitcoin here trying to push back up. Is the rest of the market doing the same thing? Looks like it wants to bounce a little bit. That's the Japan markets. We're going to take a look at the US 100, the NASDAQ 100, and it looks like it wants to also push up. Kind of break out a little bit there. You have the NQ1, this the NASDAQ 100 futures, which is actually still looking a little bearish there. Again, looking at the SPY futures, still looks a little bearish there. An hour ago, here reported by CNBC TV, U.S. market crash. Wow, they're putting that in plain sight on their title. U.S. market crash. Dow falls 950 points. Futures extend sell-off. Key reasons explained. So we'll see what those reasons are right now. Benchmark indices on Wall Street sold off sharply on Wednesday, June 10th, owing to multiple factors that put pressure on the equity markets. Futures this morning, Indian time, are also extending those losses further. How did the U.S. markets end on Wednesday? On Wednesday, the Dow Jones fell over 950 points, or nearly 2%, to close below the mark of 50,000. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ shed 1.6% and 2% respectively as chip and tech names, barring Apple, continue to see selling pressure amidst mega SpaceX IPO. Since it made its record high on June 2nd, the S&P 500 has shed more than $3.3 trillion in market cap. Futures this morning are also trading with losses. The Dow futures are down between 150 and 200 points, and the S&P 500 futures are down 30, while the NASDAQ futures are also trading with losses of close to 200 points. So why did the U.S. markets fall on Wednesday? So according to CNBC TV, a big factor behind the fall was the escalation in tensions between the U.S. and Iran, with U.S. President Donald Trump threatening further attacks as Iran delayed too long in negotiation a deal. And in an interaction with reporters, the president said that, quote, "We hit them hard yesterday, we're going to hit them very hard today." Soon after, the U.S. Central Command launched strikes on select targets in Iran without disclosing the location. The attacks began after market closing hours. Wow, what great timing. Another reason behind the soured sentiments has been the extended sell-off in the chip, memory, and AI-linked stocks. From its intraday high of June 3rd, the S&P 500 is already down over 5%. For the NASDAQ, which made a high of 27,990 on June 1st, the index is already down 7.5% from those levels. All chip and AI-linked companies, ranging from NVIDIA to Broadcom, AMD, Micron, Qualcomm, fell between 4 to 7% on Wednesday. Bullish analysts attribute this to be a healthy price reset among chip companies after the significant run-up they saw between April and June once the Iran ceasefire was first announced. Shares of AMD, Micron had all gained between 100 to 200% already within the first 5 months of the year. Part of the sell-off is also being attributed to profit booking by retail investors so that they can allocate those funds to the mega SpaceX IPO. The Elon Musk-led company has launched a $75 billion initial public offering, priced at $135 a share, and that has already received demand for 4 times the total number of shares on offer, according to the reports. Investors had been banking on a quick peace deal in the Middle East, says Brett Kenwell at eToro. The trouble is, the longer it takes to find a resolution, the more likely oil prices remain elevated. The longer energy prices stay elevated, the stickier inflation can get. So Iran troubles overshadow tame inflation figures. The U.S.-Iran escalation overshadowed the U.S. May consumer price inflation figures, which were released at last evening at 0.5% month-on-month and at 4.2% annualized. The inflation figures rose in line with what economists had projected. However, the core CPI figure stood at 0.3% month-on-month and 2.9% annualized. The month-on-month figure was below expectations, indicating that most of the inflation had been driven by the rise in energy prices due to the Iran war. Even after the inflation report, the U.S. 10-year bond yield remains at 4.55% as fears of the U.S. Federal Reserve hiking rates have not eased, although it may not happen during this policy, according to estimates on the CME FedWatch tool. So what's next for the U.S. market? After the CPI figures, the market participants will be monitoring the wholesale inflation figures that will be released later this evening Indian time and the initial jobless claim figure. Developments around Iran and the subsequent reaction to crude oil prices will remain the key monitorable. Okay. So let's see, Johnny. It does look different than before. Before I was saying something else. Abel. Wow. For some reason, there is a big pop on the SPY futures. That's interesting. Let's see. The same goes for the Nasdaq futures. The Dow. The Dow, we don't see that on the Dow yet. But yeah, for some reason, we're seeing a bit of a push up here in the futures market. So I'm wondering what's happening here. Also, the Russell, facing the 200 EMA. But yeah, we're just looking at that to see if it was just a false breakout or nothing burger, and then the sell-offs continue. Lion, before it used to do everything like you did on it right now, but during trading hours still wouldn't let you. Okay, so wait, did you take a screenshot? I feel like it's very important to take screenshots of this, especially let's say if you make a transaction, or you try to make a transaction on your brokerage like Webull and try to buy more warrants, but then if it it gives you a message, then perhaps they stopped selling warrants to investors. So if we take a look here, we'll see. Where is that message? This was on June 1st, by the way. This was almost 2 weeks ago. You were saying not being able to buy GME warrants reminds me when Robinhood took away the buy button for aiming. It's completely different. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. Alright, so here. Let me see this. The symbol is restricted to closing orders only. And you were trying to buy 25 You were trying to buy 25 shares, warrants, but it didn't let you. 8 in the morning. And that was 11:08 in the morning my time. So that was during market hours. And then I think I did an analysis about that. So when I go here, I think I took a screenshot. I added it to the ChatGPT, and yeah, I did. Okay. So I asked, why is this happening to GME warrants? By the way, this is all speculation. Just know that AI ChatGPT can make mistakes, so check for important info. Not financial advice. Always do your own research. So I shared the screenshot with the fact that they weren't letting Johnny buy any more warrants because the symbol was restricted to closing orders only. Why is this happening to that? And the message means that the broker, allegedly Webull, is allowing only sales of existing GME warrants positions, not new purchases. So maybe there is a cap on warrants. Maybe there is a limit to how many warrants there are in the brokerage, right? So if we take a look at this information here, you see it doesn't show you, shares outstanding or anything like that. It just shows you the volume. And the average would be somewhere around 590 to 600,000. The volume for today traded with 326.48 thousand in volume. So I'm just trying to figure this out myself. But I think there was, I might be wrong, but maybe allegedly there was only a limit that Webull could attain in those warrants for them to sell to investors, for them to buy. And yeah, I know that. Yeah, that means you can't buy anymore, and you can only sell your existing warrants that you have already in your position on Webull, and that's pretty much it. So it's probably that they're capped out. Let's see. Many brokers place restrictions on warrants, rights, and other corporate action securities when they determine there are clearing, custody, settlement, or compliance issues. The restriction may be imposed by the broker rather than the New York Stock Exchange itself. No, we're looking at the screenshot that you sent almost 2 weeks ago. It's right here in front. I have it right here from when you sent it to the Discord. Let's see. The restriction may be imposed by the broker rather than the New York Stock Exchange itself. So maybe the New York Stock Exchange has nothing to do with that. Who knows? Number 2, clearing DTC eligibility issues. Several brokers and investors reported receiving no opening trades or closing transactions only messages on GME warrants in the past. One explanation provided by brokers was that the security had become subject to a DTC-related restriction, sometimes called a chill or eligibility issue, which can prevent opening transactions while allowing existing holders to sell. Your broker may not support new warrant purchases. Some brokers permit customers to hold or sell warrants, but do not permit opening new warrant positions after a certain date or under certain risk classifications. Number 4, it is probably not an exchange-wide halt. Recent market data still shows GME warrants trading and changing hands, which suggests the warrants themselves are still active in the market rather than being completely halted. I mean, that's pretty much what's been happening here. As you can see, the time in sales is still active and there's still trading going on with those warrants. What you would check next is which broker. Well, we already know the screenshot looks similar to Webull, but it's Webull. If you already own warrants, which I'm sure you do, if you search for GME warrants on another brokerage platform, can you place a buy order there? So if that's the case, you could always experiment. You can go through another brokerage like Robinhood or E-Trade or any other brokerage as an example, and you can see if you can be able to buy a warrant, a GME warrant, and if the transaction actually goes through, then you wonder, why is Webull, as an example, only restricting to closing transactions only? Is this a broker restriction, a DTC restriction, or an exchange restriction? And when will opening transactions be re-enabled? And it says here, one thing that stands out is that your screenshot, Johnny, shows a live bid and ask market, which usually indicates the warrants are still trading somewhere, and that often points to a broker level restriction rather than a complete market halt. Let's see, so this was Webull. This was Webull and took place on June 1st, 2026. Since this happened June 1st, 2026, and specifically on Webull, the most likely explanation, alright, this might be true or not. Again, ChatGPT can make mistakes. But it says here, the most likely explanation is that Webull had placed GME warrants into closing transactions only status due to the warrants' corporate action status or a clearing/custody restriction. So it could be one of those two things. If few things stand out from the screenshot, the warrant was still displaying a live market with a bid of $3.17 and the ask of $3.24. Webull was not showing a trading halt, and the system specifically rejected a buy order, not all orders. So that usually means existing holders could still sell. New buyers could not open positions, and 3, the restrictions originated from Webull and or its clearing firm rather than the exchange. Why would Webull do this? For warrants, brokers often become more restrictive when an exercise period is approaching. There are pending corporate actions. The security becomes difficult to clear or settle. And the broker's risk department decides the instrument no longer meets its requirements for opening trades. The GME warrant angle. Many GameStop investors have been watching the warrants because they represent potential future share issuance if exercised. If Webull's clearing partner believed there was elevated settlement risk, they may have restricted opening transactions while still permitting liquidation of existing positions. What you would want to know, if this restriction remained in place after June 1st, or was it only temporary? So it's asking you, Johnny, did this restriction remain in place after June 1st, or was this only temporary? are you still able to buy afterwards? So you have to, you're gonna have to find out tomorrow when the market opens if it still does the same thing, or if it was only temporary, and then you can still purchase afterwards warrants. It's only scary if you continue to buy GME and GME warrants only, and lose focus on other plays that could potentially keep you afloat and keep your portfolio balanced, and or go into the green. All right, because this whole mentality, you know, from the meme stocks and, you know, all the things that happened within the last 5-6 years, with the mentality that we need to buy and hold, nothing else matters, this and this and that. But, you know, that just kind of like gives people the tunnel vision and the idea that that's the only thing that you can probably do at this point, while there's so many other stocks out there that you can trade, in my opinion. And all of the stocks that have been mentioned on here and everywhere else in the past, whereas you could just focus on other things while you have your big position in GME on the side, and not being able to worry or fear of anything as to why it would be scary to continue to buy GME and GME warrants. That's up to you, and that's ultimately your decision. And you know, you just can't let that distract you from the fact that there is so much else going on in the markets that you could potentially be taking advantage of. So if you're able to get warrants somewhere else, then so be it. That's you know what you decide to do. You go on Robinhood and they allow you to buy warrants, then it's probably a brokerage issue on Weeble's behalf and their clearing firm, and whatever I explained a few moments ago on ChatGPT. Now, what you would want to know also is, was this GME warrants from the recent GameStop warrant issuance associated with the company's financing transactions, or was it a different warrant series? If you have the warrant prospectus or the exact QSIP number, you can dig into the specific terms and explain whether there was an event around June 1st that would have triggered Weeble's restriction. For GameStop investors, a broker suddenly moving a warrant to closing only is usually more of a broker operational issue than a bullish or bearish signal for the common stock itself. So that sentence in itself, in all speculation, of course, all right, saying that, you know, that it's more of a broker operational issue than a bullish or bearish signal for the common stock itself shouldn't get you scared. It shouldn't scare you, is what I meant to say. Because it's something on their side that they need to fix, or maybe it is that they're already capped at the amount of warrants that they can sell to the investors, or whatever the case is. But the key question is whether other brokers like Fidelity, Schwab, IBKR, Robinhood, E-Trade were still accepting opening buy orders and GME warrants on that same date. If they were, that strongly points to a Webull specific restriction rather than something fundamentally wrong with the warrants. So if that answers your question, then you're good to go and you're all set and you don't have anything to fear. The only thing you would have to fear is if the market is crashing and all of a sudden, GameStop crashes and there's no more company. That's when you fear. But the reality is that is not the case. So yeah. But in regards to the market overall, and this is why I continue to explain, I continue to preach, I continue to speak my opinions and let you guys know that when you guys are watching your specific stocks, for example AMC and GME, you have to really think about referencing the overall market and what it's doing, because majority of the time, and we've been seeing this from time and time again, that when something happens with, let's say, GME or AMC, for example, you can literally see the trend in itself and what it's doing, right? So if so we'll put it on, from side to side here. I'm gonna go ahead and put up here 2 charts. My mouse is acting up. Stop it. Let me just do this real quick and show you just an example of exactly what I mean. Okay? And this is why I have this cursor here, to show you guys the trends, how this all played out. We'll just zoom in. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, yeah, we're gonna zoom in and we're gonna see what transpired, starting with the opening of the market. So I'm gonna keep it like this, so that way you know what happened. Okay. All right. So you bought. Okay. So you bought a whole bunch on Robinhood and still bought on that same day. Gotcha. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with experimenting and doing that. So I'm just trying to figure this out. 8:25. Looks like that's interesting, because there was a big bounce. There was a bounce here before. And you know what? And this looks very similar. So if we take a look at how this all transpired, it kind of looks like SPY created the algorithm first. You have the big spike up around 8:30. I think that's when the data came out for CPI. Was it today? Can't remember. But that pretty much pushed the market up. Then by the time, okay, no. As a matter of fact, here we go. There we go. Hold on. Let me just change this a bit here. Okay. I'll zoom in here. I think it's better if I do this better. Yeah. Hold on. Right here. All right. So you got your little push here by market open. This jumps up, And the same thing goes for GME as it jumped up. But there was a moment where it just stopped pushing. Then it came back down. Then consolidated. Here you can see that it actually SPY sold off dramatically, like almost $10 down. But at the same time, which actually caught me by surprise, is that in the midst of SPY falling, GME had consolidated and ranged in somewhat of an uptrend, which caught me by surprise. Now we move a little bit more to the side here. Now you see SPY consolidating at this range here. While that's happening, I found it interesting that GME had started coming up all the way to almost 2260, but at the same time SPY was still consolidating and was still ranging. And then when it got to this point, after this point, it started to sell off a little bit. Here there was a little bit of a how do you call it? Like, I feel like all this was not related to the market, but when you got to this point here, then you start to see that the market actually influenced GME on the price action. So when it came to this part here where SPY was selling off at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you see here that GME did exactly the same thing right here in this small amount of time. But then somehow around this point GME started pumping back up and eventually hitting a new day high of what I think 2265, while the SPY was surprisingly still coming down all the way. So this part here, which I found to be somewhat similar in price action like in GME, so here you have a sell-off, and here too you have a sell-off. So somewhere around the same time, that's what happened. Then you have after market close, then you have SPY selling off some more, chopping down, and then GME chopping down as well. I know it kind of looks a little messy there, but it's interesting that the pattern or the algorithm that took place today, there was some similarities with some differences, and what actually caught me by surprise is that GME did in some way find itself with a lot more volume than usual at some parts, like where I showed you with here and here, and all in the midst of while SPY dumped pretty much over 2% again, to face more sell-offs. I mean, it's crazy to me how that just happened. But yeah, let's see. I'm not really that scared. I'm just playing. I know that if I keep losing one of these days, I'm gonna win. Well, the point is to not keep losing. The point is to keep winning, regardless. The only time that you're technically losing is that you keep feeding more money into GME, and if it's not going up yet, then it's just gonna not go anywhere. You have to somehow continue to make more wins than to just have flat days or maybe some losses in between, because I don't think that was the purpose that we got ourselves involved with the market. And so that's the mentality that we need to try to figure out and create to change our way of thinking, because if we keep thinking the way that we do, then we're just going to continue taking L's most of the time and not seeing any results. Because again, we've been stuck on with that mentality that we've been dealing with for the past 5-6 years. Some people are just fed up because they don't want to go through the same thing anymore, and they really just want to make money. They really want to see green. Like, why go against the trend instead of just riding along with it? And if disciplined enough and knowing how to manage your time and your entry and exit strategy, then therefore you wouldn't really have to worry about those things and taking L's and worrying about, like, if it's gonna be another boring day tomorrow or the next day because nothing is happening to my stocks. So that has to change. At some point, you make a decision that's going to change for the better. That way, you wouldn't have to be stuck with that mentality. It's going to be another boring day tomorrow. But what are you doing about it? So we're just going to sit here and just watch another boring day of nothingness? The SPY's coming down. Well, what are we doing about it? We're just going to watch it come down and then also drag the other stocks down with it? No. You're going to take advantage of the trend and you're going to play it. And that's it. In and out, done. Get in the green. Do not risk yourself any further losses and focus on the wins. Yes, you may have, one day that you'll take some L's. We're all not perfect at trading. We're not perfect in the market, but the point is to rewire your brain. So that's just my little rant to you. But, that's just me. Tough love. 'Cause I love y'all. Sometimes it's not a good thing to also be listening to people that hype you up with a whole bunch of emotions. You get all riled up and all of a sudden you lose focus. You lose focus on what truly matters. Richard, thank you for coming to the stream. Yes. Because oil has been the subject on this stream for a long time before in the past. It still is, and I still think, in my opinion, that we can see another breakout for oil. And as a matter of fact, that is what's actually happening right now, as crude oil is up 0.5% from the bottom of 87.45 early this morning at 4 in the morning Eastern time to as high as 93.64, almost $94 per barrel, probably just an hour ago. So we're trending up, and what that means is that stocks, oil stocks, energy stocks is in the green. You have your BP, Shell, Sunoco, Exxon, Chevron, Phillips, XLE, State Street, Energy Select Sector, S&P was up 1.5%. Halliburton, you have Oxy following the same trend. You have Devon Energy Corporation, which closed 5.74%. What else we have over here? Oh, and Richard, have you seen these small cap stocks? These micro small cap stocks that we've talked about on this channel for a very long time. And one of them is Indonesia Energy Corporation Limited. There has been a connection with these stocks that I'm about to show you. For example, INDO, IMPP, Imperial Petroleum, which has also seen some upside recently. TPET, which is barely 40 cents, actually spiked up to 46 cents today and closed up 12.63% on the day. With how do you say, so we have a market cap of only $13.45 million. Shares float 32.32 million shares outstanding. What up, fishy? Listen, we gotta manifest. We gotta lock it in. We gotta really be more positive in what we're trying to do here. All right. There's so much going on. There's a lot of people that are just so distracted, dude. So distracted. You have people just literally having them just focus on one single thing. They all have tunnel vision. They don't see what's going on outside the box. They don't see what's what is happening with the situation in Iran. They're like, oh my gosh, what is going on with my stock? It's only down 5%. I'm losing everything. And we have talked about so much for a long time, man. Fishy knows, Johnny knows. And it's crazy that you mentioned TPET. I didn't even... Bro, TPET has been on my list for quite some time already. But yeah, you take a look. I'm going to show you since you're here, Richard. Give me a yes if you're still on the chat, Richard. Let me know. Fishy, how are you doing? Happy Wednesday. Hopefully you had a great day at work. Let me show you INDO on the daily. The last run up that we seen on INDO. Basically, when the tensions started to escalate with Venezuela, and then afterwards with Iran. We've seen here from the end of November of last year, when it was at a low of 257, we'll just say 260, and then we've seen INDO rising amidst all of that going on, and when oil surged to pretty much $120 a barrel, INDO managed to track alongside and saw some crazy volatility to the point where it went from 260 all the way to as high as $8.50 in a nice swing. Then everything started to calm down a little bit, and talks started to happen. Whatever. This lost steam. It sold back down. Now we're pretty much back at the same the same place where it was, back around 260, like in November. Now we're in June, and we're seeing some type of reversal. And I want to say that perhaps there is another opportunity for INDO, in my opinion, not financial advice, for some action, because there was a break in the RSI here. As you can see, the RSI length breaking above that 50 MA line and just coming out of the oversold territory close to the neutral level, and still having room to go more upside. And all in the midst of oil, in an attempt potentially for a breakout, because now we see more of a bullish flag or a pennant forming on the daily chart here for WTI crude oil. And if this does indeed play out with everything going on, and as you know, again, over 2 hours ago, Iran announcing a full shutdown on the Strait of Hormuz following U.S. strikes, and Trump bombing the shit out of them for refusing to sign the good faith deal. Now Iran begging him to stop bombing, because Trump is going full tough guy mode. And it's quite insane, because it's just how we see it. These tensions continue to escalate. It continues to transpire. Oil is still going to be elevated, and eventually, if things get worse, push come to shove, oil will shove right through this bullish pennant and break out of the flag, potentially breaking back over 95 and even probably 100. Heck, if US oil were to surge from something that we probably didn't even see coming, in my opinion, then, just like how it happened back then, when the whole Ukraine and Russia situation had transpired, remember that? And there was all of a sudden a huge surge in oil prices, where we seen oil rally back in December of 2021 into March of 2022 from a low of $63 a barrel all the way to as high as $129.42 per barrel. Who's to say that that could actually happen once more? History could repeat itself. Things could go crazy. Even on the weekly, it looks pretty dominant here. How perhaps maybe that breakout could happen, but we won't know for sure. We will know for sure unless, in fact, Trump continues to bomb and destroy and make things, even more difficult for Iran to sign that deal and to continue to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed and disrupting all global shipment, where other countries would feel the effects of this, as you've seen before in the past couple of months. So what I was going to show Richard real quick is that moment in time when oil reached a high of $129, almost pretty much over $130 during the Ukraine and Russia situation. When this happened, then we take a look at INDO, and believe it or not, INDO, IMPP, AGIG, also known as, well, formerly known as HUSA. I'm not too sure. I mean, but it still somehow influences the price action of oil. So AGIG might be another ticker to watch amidst this situation, in my opinion. Not financial advice, of course. Always do your own research and your own DD, and hopefully it all aligns together with what's being said here. But INDO, for example, and that moment in time when the whole Ukraine and Russia situation happened and oil surged dramatically all the way up to $130 a barrel. Yeah, so let's take a look at, well, that's the daily. Let's take a look at the daily chart on INDO. You can see there has been a couple of events here led to huge spikes, like the one back in March, sending this over $8 a share. Then again here around June of last year. Then here back in October of 2024. And then here April of 2024. It's like it has its own cycles, you know. But the one that really shocked everybody when this happened was back in March of 2022, when INDO surged from $3-4 a share all the way to as high as $86.99 in just a matter of a week. That was like a squeeze in its own, all because of what happened with oil and the situation with Ukraine and Russia and so forth. But, you know, just to show you as an example. Alright. And IMPP, which is the other one. Let me just go. That's not what I'm trying to do here. Hold on, let me go back. I have to go back to that point. IMPP, which is zooming back out, and we're going back to that moment in time. As you can see here, also the same algo, the same situation. IMPP did the same thing, even though they did go through a reverse stock split back in 2023, I believe. But the price here, you just divide it by 10, as this used to be somewhere around 70 cents. And then it went as high as maybe $12. MARPS, also the same thing. MARPS, which is Marine Petroleum Trust. This has been pretty much the same thing, where it traded somewhere around 375, 380 and ended up going as high as, hold on, that's not the right one. Nope. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Here it is. It was at a low of $4, around $4, and it went as high as $32. I would show AGIG before the run up. Oh, it is here. Okay, so here we go. So you can see here. I think they had a split also. Let me see. Show you right now. I think this was after they changed their ticker symbol. Yeah, 1 for 10. 1 for 10, so that means.
Mira que estos 7 no tienen un nazi, ¿no?
What?
Esos 7 no tienen un nazi.
No, I told you. I told you before, Mom. So basically, this was a $2 to $3 stock. I think it's went as high as $16, almost $17 a share. So from 2 to 3 to 16 to $17 in that event. TPET, I don't really have much on this, and this IPO'd way after the events on March 2022. Back in April of 2023, this is when it IPO'd. It was at 60, it came all the way down. They had a reverse split, 1 for 20. Then all the way to where it's at now. I feel like this could also be, for sure, another situation. It would be a nice swing for sure. In this case, there is a small gap, in my opinion, where this could actually go past 50 cents. And then there's another somewhere around 60. So perhaps this could be a nice little swing for sure if things get a little crazy with oil. Alright, Johnny, thank you for passing by. Thank you for chopping it up and speaking your mind. Hopefully everything goes well tomorrow. I'm glad that you got home safe from work. And yeah, chat with us on Discord when you can. And let me know how things go. Let me know if you could be able to buy Jimmy warrants on Webull again. Have a good night, man. But yeah, anyways, yeah, IMPP has been on this watch list for a very long time, like probably like over 2 years. This has been one of the most interesting ones here. I feel like we've talked about this right before it was like $2 back in winter of 2023. Then this thing surged all the way to like $4.50, came back down to like $2 sub. Then went to create new 52-week highs at around $6.34. Then coming back down to $3. And now, once again, on a nice uptrend here. Kind of looks a little healthy there. And on top of the fact that they had beat earnings a couple of times. Less revenue December of 2025, but they beat revenue the last 2 times. And their earnings is next July 29th. But yeah, as you can see there, so far it looks good. It bounced off the neutral level on the RSI. It looks like it's wanting to break over the 50 MA line. Again, that's on the daily chart. So that's another one to look at. Richard, if you are still there. Let's check out Sky Q. We're gonna look at Sky Q. Never seen that one before. Sky Query. Oh, okay. Sky Query Inc. Squirry. Sky Query Inc. Alright, so this closed at $1.91. It was actually up 22.44 cents. Access Newswire here reported 7 days ago that Sky Query pushes to expand drilling in Nevada, home to an estimated 1.4 billion barrels of oil. The company's Foreland refinery, Nevada's only operating refinery, provides a direct in-state outlet for local crude production. Sky Query, the company, an energy infrastructure company focused on domestic refining and resource development, today announced that it is launching a crude oil drilling and production initiative in Nevada's Railroad Valley, the state's primary oil-producing region, and that it intends to refine that crude at its Foreland refinery, the only operating refinery in Nevada. And according to a 2025 U.S. Geological Survey assessment, Nevada holds approximately 1.4 billion barrels of undiscovered, technically recoverable oil beneath federal lands, the third largest with such resources of any state behind only Alaska and New Mexico. Yet despite sitting atop that resource, Nevada today imports more than 90% of its transportation fuels, much of it from supply-constrained California. Sky Query intends to help close that gap. Michael D. O'Neill, president of Grant Canyon Oil and Gas, LLC, and Saddle Rim Energy, Texas, LLC, commented, quote, "We firmly believe that the prospects we are developing in Nevada are more attractive than most parts of the U.S. Our current production has very long-lived reserves with shallow field decline rates. There are still huge undiscovered oil and gas fields in Nevada. We look forward to expanding our production and working with Foreland Refining Corporation and Sky Query. The company is actively working to catalyze new drilling in Railroad Valley, assisting regional producers in bringing additional wells online and increasing production of Nevada crude. Producers are evaluating opportunities to expand output, and Sky Query is positioning Foreland to refine the additional local crude those efforts could deliver. The Foreland refinery is particularly well suited for processing Railroad Valley crude because the basin has limited pipeline access to outside markets. It is generally more economical to refine locally, giving Foreland a natural advantage in securing local supply. As regional production grows, the company intends to increase utilization above historical levels, converting more local barrels into fuel for the state. Quote, at its peak, Railroad Valley wells produced roughly 5,000 barrels per day, and we believe more wells with that kind of productivity are still possible, said Marcus Lawn, who's the chief executive officer of Sky Query. Quote, more production would strengthen Nevada's energy infrastructure and increase the amount of locally produced crude available for refining in-state. That is the opportunity we are pursuing. All right. So about Sky Query is an energy infrastructure company focused on domestic refinery and resource development. The company operates the Foreland refinery in Nevada, the state's only operating refinery, producing diesel, vacuum gas oil, naphtha, and liquid paving asphalt for western U.S. markets. Sky Query is also advancing development initiatives at PR Spring in Utah, focused on technologies to recover hydrocarbons from oil-saturated sands, soils, and consumer waste, including asphalt shingles, using its proprietary EcoSolve process. This closed-loop technology aims to enable efficient oil recovery while reducing landfill waste and supporting domestic energy production. Not sponsored, but non-financial advice. That is the latest news on this company. Very interesting here. What we got here? PR Newswire back in May 29th had reported 180 million barrels of oil sands, a 5,000 BPD permitted Nevada refinery, and a new multi-party SAF collaboration just stacked onto the U.S. domestic refining capacity conversation. Wow. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the symbol. We're going to put Sky Query on the watch list. Again, shout out to Richard Nieswender for the ticker shout out there. And also to look at BATL. But before that, I will look into see Chart Exchange. We're gonna check out if there's anything involved. Borrow fees. And yes, it looks like this is also a stock that has a high cost to borrow. And according to today, the stock has run out of short shares to borrow at 111.79% cost to borrow fees, which is making it very, very difficult for the shorts, in my opinion. And it's been like that for the rest of the day. Here, the last time they had any shares left to borrow was at 7 in the morning Eastern time, with 20,000 remaining, and those shares are now gone. So there's no more short shares available. No more. I believe they do not have any options. It's a share-only stock, and therefore this will be an interesting watch into tomorrow and the rest of the week. And as you can see, with those tensions happening in Iran and the bombing to continue in the Strait of Hormuz and all of that stuff. Okay. So now B, ticker symbol BATL, Battalion Oil Corporation. Wow, this is another stock that looks like it was primed, and it was, and it actually ran up and closed at $2.06, up 57.25%. It was at a low of $132 and a high of $2.93. The 52-week range ranges from the low of $1 to a high of $29.70. Incredible. We do have a big gap that was created on the daily chart here back since March 24th to the 25th this year, and that is somewhere around the 770 to 880 range. But if things do get a little crazy, I would think that this would have the potential to run a couple of dollars up if the shorts do get cooked and get their shorts burnt. In my opinion, that is something that could happen if in fact this does continue to see some upward pressure. I mean, look at the 4 hour. I mean, that looks pretty intense already looking at it. So the price target for BATL If bullish, it needs to break over 3, and then it has to see, and then it has to break over. I want to say 470. I want to say 476, maybe 480, since that was kind of like the last resistance there. So yeah, we're gonna see if it breaks over 3, then 480 to 5. If things get a little intense. If we take a look at the ATL, let's see what we got here. So this is another stock that also has seen a pretty high cost to borrow fee. Last was 61.64%, and there's no more short shares to borrow. They were struggling for sure in between. They had before right about 500,000 short shares to borrow, then 400,000, then 0, then 150, then 100,000, then 0, then 300, then 0, then 500, then 0. So yeah, they're losing control out of this one. BATL. You just quickly put this up here. There's no options for this one too, but you can see the price action here on the 5-minute. This was in fact a wild ride, and not only that, you can see here it was eventually at a low of 126. Then this morning going up to 130 to 145, consolidating. After market open, it was a run to the hills. This thing went up almost $3. Then came back down to then consolidate in this upward trend, where there is a potential to see BATL go for another leg up and try to break over $3 once again. And once that happens, again, like I said, it could be trouble for the shorts there, in my opinion. Then we have that gap at around $8. All right, fishy. Oh, give me 1 second, actually. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Channel activity. What was I? AAOI, unusual options alert. Wait, I think this is something that you might have to just post on the Discord. Damn, look at that. That's the hourly chart too. That's insane. But we'll check out and see what's applied optoelectronics. Applied optoelectronics. This is 175.13. Up 7.5%. AAOI. AAOI. This trades in the 24-hour markets, actually. $190 calls. But what's the other that's June 18. Those $190 calls is for June 18 as well for AAOI, fishy. Yeah, I was Yeah, Richard, I was actually going over the day after. I was on Discord just chatting with the other fam, and just keeping track of the craziness that had happened with MTEN, as it went crazy. It went ballistic. It went to like, where is it? Right here? When it went from $2 all the way to as high as $9.52, almost $10. This price action was insane. Like literally, like this would shit somebody's pants. This was like beyond like. This was like demonic. Like literally, this would crap your pants. Because like, how would it drop from 952 to 915 to then drop as low as 340, going to as low as 253, and then from here go for another leg up, back to 768, then drop again, like literally just drop from 768 on the high to a low of 207, just like that, and going to as low as 117. That is not even, that's diabolical. So a lot of people, I'm sure, they either took the W or they took a huge loss. Went on that FOMO ride. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Like, be honest, Richard. When you saw this price action, did it want to give you the runs? Were you like, did you want to like go straight to the bathroom and poop? Because like this was like, because this is disgusting. Like if you like, I'm sure if you're disciplined enough to know when it's literally enough to take profit before the initial drop, then you're good. Then you're really good at what you're doing. And especially hitting a bottom like over here by 275 and then riding it back up for another one, for another push. That's insane. But that's like kind of like that's like a second warning. If you think about it in that sense, this was pretty much the first warning. Then this was like the second warning, like literally like hello. And then that was all she wrote. That was wild though. I wish I would have gotten in, but due to my circumstances at the moment, can't really do much. Then you had then you had S dot. Let me look for that one. By the way, again, INDO, keep that on your watch list. This thing closed at 7.17% at 284, and it hit $3. It's capable of so much more, in my opinion. So let me go ahead and look for S dot. S dot. Oh my, what? Wow. Wait a minute. This thing closed up 108.22%. It hit a high of $36.50, closing at $28.11. I think this was more. I think S dot was more. I think it was more solid. More solid than MTEN. Plus, look at this. It's consolidated. A little bit indecisive though, because it did make it like right underneath the 200 EMA on the 2-minute chart. Take a look at the 5-minute, and it's, you know, the trend is changing to a bearish trend, and it's coming down to face the 200 here at 22.75. Hold on, let me look at S dot here. Yeah, so you see it actually did come down a bit more during the after hours. So from 28.11 at the close down to 24.76. So there is a possibility that it would try to probably come back down to like 20, maybe somewhere between 19 and 20 bucks, and see if it actually holds as support. If not, then maybe see more downside. The estimated borrow fee rate here on Webull is still dramatically high. It's at 683%. Wow. That is insane. That is a number to definitely keep an eye on. Remember, we are gambling in the most corrupted casino in the world. Always take profits. Exactly. That's why I was hoping that one of my members in the Lions Den, he had an average of, I believe, 240. Let me see something here. Kadaido. Give me 1 second here. His average was 232. So when that happened, it came down to 195. But then somehow it popped back up. Where's that METN right here? So it popped back up. Where were we? Hold on. Oh, was that Matt K? Yo, what up, Matt K? Long time no see, bro. So pretty much here, right? 935. He had the opportunity to get out around 280, 267, around there. Then it came down, and then it halted. Then eventually it moved back up to 218. So yeah, he had two opportunities there. So he had here, and then here to take profit, or to get out above, just slightly above his average, which I'm sure was really difficult because the stock itself was moving very volatile. It was very volatile, you know. So I'm just hoping that he did get out as soon as it went before his average. Let's check out paths. But yeah, dude, it's good to see you, Matt. Let's check the daily right now. What on earth is going on here? Okay, what? Oh, damn. Okay, that's nasty. New job, no spare time. Wish I had some powder to play SpaceX next week. Oh, dude, that's in the IPO is on Friday. So you might not The only thing is you probably might miss the window for you to be able to reserve shares for the IPO and buy ahead of time. And I mean, I don't know, maybe it's not too late. I'm not too sure. I don't know if there's a deadline for you to actually buy or bid on some on shares. I know I can't really do anything either. I'm just gonna have fun and watch the price action. This is disgusting. This was like literally in just a short time. You telling me 600 and what 800 and change? They had 2 reverse splits in a short amount of time. Back in December 18 of last year, a 1 for 100, and then again March 31st, just literally like 4 months apart. Then they have a 1 for 12. What was that all about, Richard? So technically speaking, a stock that was once around 2000 now worth 50 cents. Paranavis Entertainment Technology. It says here that on March 27th they had announced the reverse stock split. Their Class A ordinary shares begin trading on a reverse share split adjusted basis on the opening of the Nasdaq market. So, I mean, this is crazy. V-Stock Transfer LLC is acting as the exchange agent and paying agent for the reverse share split. So this focuses on e-commerce and TikTok related e-commerce solutions through its subsidiaries. In March 2025, the company completed the acquisition of the controlling equity interest of Bomi Wuku Inc., a New York company that offers e-commerce solutions. As part of the strategic transformation, Paranavis has exited its legacy businesses, including the e-commerce, internet information, and advertising businesses in September 2023, and ceased its automobile sales business in July 2024. www.pavs.ai. Should I visit this website? Oh gosh. I feel like this website was also created by AI. So wait, what else has been going on with you, Matthew? Matt? We might as well just trade SpaceX and see what happens, right? What could have happened if we put in $1,000 worth of SpaceX shares? Let's see. We are looking to reshape tomorrow's entertainment landscape and redefine the entertainment industry by harnessing the full potential of AI brilliance and crafting unparalleled experiences for global audiences. In my opinion, stay away from that IPO. Concentrate on the backdoor tickers that are linked to that IPO. So, in your opinion, do you think those tickers that are linked to that IPO, do you think it's not a good idea? Do you think they will backfire? Actually, as a matter of fact, let's Let's check this out right now real quick. Because there was this post here that I just saw by Reflection on X.com. It says here the U.S. regulatory system just broke. Right, this is just speculation, of course. Take it with a grain of salt. In 48 hours, SpaceX goes public at $1.77 trillion, the biggest IPO ever. He says, I've been trading for over a decade and I've never seen them rewrite the rulebook like this. NASDAQ, MSCI, and the biggest brokers in America all bent their own rules for one private company. That doesn't happen by accident. Let me show you exactly what they did. First, Fidelity dropped its minimum account size from $500,000 to $2,000. That's a 99.6% cut. Think about that. The most exclusive door on Wall Street thrown wide open to millions of small investors days before the biggest debut in history. How ironic is that, guys? All in the midst of this IPO to take place this Friday. And now people can be able to trade without a minimum requirement. PDT rule is out the window. Whatever. So ask yourself one question: why do they suddenly want you in? Because somebody needs people to sell to. SpaceX reserved 30% of the deal for retail, 3 times the normal share, and even then, most people didn't get a full allocation. So to grab more at Thursday's open, they're dumping everything else today to raise cash. And you know what? That actually does kind of make sense in a way. If you just think about it, if you could just think about that for a second, and the reason why the indices has been dropping, which is pretty crazy. Let's see the dollar index here having a little pullback, by the way, and it looks like SPY has gone through a bit of a recovery. Bitcoin also with a bit of a recovery here, bouncing from 61,100 and change back to 62,209. But yeah, so again, to grab more at Thursday's open tomorrow, they're dumping everything else today to raise cash. So that's half of the selling you're seeing. That's half of the selling you're seeing. So pretty much Bitcoin, SPY, and all the other indices, along with other big cap stocks, blue chip, whatever, tech, semiconductors. The other half, the smart money front running July. Here's the trick. SpaceX doesn't join the NASDAQ 100 on day one. It joins 15 days later because NASDAQ cut its own waiting period from 3 months to 15 days. Well. Just for this, the moment it joins, every QQQ fund on Earth is forced to buy. $22 to $27 billion in automatic buying. Translation: imagine 50 buses all forced to pull into the same gas station on the same morning. The funds know the stampede is coming, so they're selling now to free up cash for it. Retail selling, institutions selling at the exact same time. That is your sell-off. Now here's the part nobody will say out loud. When the most connected money on the planet builds a $1.7 trillion exit door and hands the keys to the smallest investors in the market, that's not generosity. That's distribution at the top. We've seen this movie twice. The 2000.com and the 2021 SPAC mania. Insiders cash out at insane valuations while the crowd chases the hype. The math ain't mathing. So you got two choices in the next 48 hours. Chase the most expensive IPO in history at the open, or read the prospectus and realize you might be the exit. The next few days will be insane, but don't worry, I'll break down every move as it happens like I always do. Like it or not, I called every major top and bottom of the last decade publicly. I will call this one too. Many people are going to wish they followed me before June 12, 2026. Soon you'll understand why. And then he shows this clip. He shows the clip of the S&P 500 index on the weekly chart. He shows the SPX at the peak, at the all-time high of 77,699.92. And then the range in between SpaceX IPO and this bars pattern that he has drawn out, where it matches completely identical into this price action, where you see these prices here eventually after the IPO, then that's when the bubble will actually burst, and we'll see everything start to come back down within the next half a year to a year. I mean, this is the weekly chart, and that's his own bars pattern in his opinion, of course, and we can always take it as a grain of salt, but if this is exactly what was supposed to happen, then this is the moment where we would do our own research and prepare for things like this. So that's why I feel like also the market, I mean, obviously it can't go any much higher than where it is now. I still believe in the bearish thesis and that a crash is possible in the future. So people who are actually still bullish on this, we all go through cycles, and we're pretty much nearing the end of one as we speak. We don't know if this is going to be the trigger. We don't know if there's any other factors in the midst of all of this that will actually trigger this sell-off and the crash. So we gotta keep our eyes peeled, regardless of what it is. And oil too. And don't forget about rare earth minerals. People, damn good long-term investment, says Richard. And it's also the reason why they want Greenland. The backdoor tickers that are, to the IPOs are the stocks that you want to focus on. I'm saying, oh, okay. This ticker, in my opinion, I loaded up on just recently that you want to be in is ticker symbol PHGE. PHGE. And that is Biome X Inc. Small cap, micro. Yes, it is. A micro cap stock with a market cap of just $7.14 million. and with a shares float of 7.95 million shares outstanding. And this closed down 6.12% in the red. Just barely 64 cents. Technically 64 cents. We take a look at the history of this stock, and I mean, this thing just disgusting. But of course, eventually that's just part of what it goes through, And the history of reverse splits, because it's gotten 2 reverse splits, one for 10 in August 26th of 2024, and then another reverse split on November 25th of last year, one for 19. I haven't seen anything yet. And so, what about this company? What is this company all about? Well, Biome X Inc. operates as a clinical stage microbiome company which engages in the development of both natural and engineered phage cocktails designed to target and destroy harmful bacteria in chronic diseases such as cystic fibrosis and atopic dermatitis. Its product pipelines include BX004 and BX005, which are treatments for cystic fibrosis and atopic dermatitis, respectively. The company was founded in March 2015 and headquartered in Dover, Delaware. Gotcha. Let's do some research here. Systems that see, systems that act. Expanding across detection, aerial systems, and security infrastructure? Really? Explore more. We're just doing our research here. See what this is all about. Oh, okay, that's different now. That is different. What is that? Or to Claire beat earnings? I think you meant to say Oracle, right, Fishy? I did see that Oracle had earnings, but yeah, I guess they beat earnings today. Matt says, question is, will it Rivian where it jumps then drops, or will it be a Facebook where it dips then rips later? That's an interesting take on that. Interesting way to put it. Okay, so even though we had just read the bio for that, that says that it's a clinical stage microbiome company. This says that this says smart defense systems, real world deployment. Building a portfolio of proven defense and security companies. We operate through subsidiaries, partnerships, and targeted acquisitions across detection systems, aerial technologies, infrastructure security, and more. So it says $14 billion by 2030, global counter-drone market. $130 billion by 2030, perimeter security market projected, and $4.3 trillion by 2035. Global defense market size set to expand. Whoa. Our focus is on technologies that operate in real-world conditions, systems that detect, interpret, and respond across complex operational settings. Biome X is establishing and expanding its presence across the defense sector. Through X, it's so funny, SpaceX, right? Through X, security and defense, we identify and scale opportunities across defense, security, and first respond applications. Our business includes a controlling stake in DFSL, which is a later LADAR based detection business with systems deployed worldwide. The acquisition of Zoronet, which is an AI-driven command and control system that connects sensors and enables real-time decision-making and exposure to drone-enabled technologies through distribution agreements in Israel. And together, these capabilities form a growing foundation across sensing, intelligence, and operational response. And I guess that, yeah. So Richard says that is the important part of buying that ticker. PHGE. All right, so that is the ticker symbol right there. At 64 cents. Let me see. Wait, did it actually bump right back up afterwards? Let me see. PHGE. Okay. Oh shoot. Okay. So they have no options. But check this one out. 65 cents after market close. The cost to borrow, or the estimated borrow fee rate, is 363.68%. That's huge. That's another big number. That is another big number. Compared to S dot with 683% in cost to borrow fees. BioMX, especially with such a small market cap, at 640. Actually, no, at $6.49 million market cap, and shares outstanding 10.15 million shares, with a free float of 7.30 million shares. That is a microcap stock. So any big volume, if you can imagine, can definitely set this off and have this stock take off and break back over $1 in no time. And, well, just hypothetically speaking. It's really interesting. Let's see. 5 days ago, BioMX issues restricted shares under Mandragala credit facility. What is this? Oh, damn it. I can't see it, of course. I can't even see it. Hey, when that happens. I couldn't see. There's something that happened, but I couldn't even like. This 1 million restricted shares? 1 million shares restricted? Is that what it said? I'm trying to like quickly read it. Damn it, I can't see it. I'm trying to do this as fast as I can. Let me see. Hold on. Huh? I can't even share my screen, really? Hold on. Did I do this the wrong way? I can't do it. Okay, whatever. Anyways. So I'm gonna put that ticker symbol on watch. Especially AAOI. BATL. I gotta put this one here. Sky Query. No, I gotta put this here. Sky. I keep saying Sky. Then I'll add Battalion Oil Corporation here too on the watch list. Okay. I couldn't see anything else. They've been appointing new officers here. Chief Business Officer. What is this? ZoroNet brings autonomous C5 ISR to hardened sites without public cloud dependence. This was on June 1st. Announced the expansion of its ZoroNet subsidiary autonomous C5 ISR suite to support fully secure on-premise, hybrid, and closed-loop deployments for defense, security, and critical infrastructure. The expanded offering enables organizations to run the full ZoroNet C5 ISR suite inside hardened sites, secured intranets, and restricted infrastructure without relying on the public cloud. The expansion reflects growing demand for autonomous command and control systems that can function locally inside secured infrastructure, a priority highlighted by U.S. President Donald Trump's push to accelerate secure AI adoption in defense and critical infrastructure protection. There you go. I'm not going to read too much into it because my eyes are getting heavy. But again, thank you once again, Richard. A shout out to you in sharing this information, putting us on game with these ticker symbols. So again, if you want to revise that, you can always go back in the stream and figure out which tickers they were. If not, I will be posting them on the Discord as a reminder, just to put it on your watch list and see what happens. MYO Bull Alert. Bull Alert. What's the Bull Alert? Miomo. Oh, wow. What? Which one is this? Miomo. Miomo? MYO. Wow, this thing actually filled the gap on the daily. And this had been consolidating a bit here for almost a year, actually. Since August 12th of last year, ranging around $1 to $1.30, even down to as low as 60 cents back in March of this year. The end of March, 60 cents. Then showing a very nice looking uptrend here. Looks really healthy. Trend is bullish. It's turned yellow. And it broke over the 200 daily EMA, which looks very, very strong. I mean, look at the 4 hour looks even more bullish in my opinion. So I wonder what's going on with that stock. Looks like Miomo is maintained at a buy rating by Ascendient Capital. Wow. So their price target was raised to $10 a share from $9.50. That was 2 days ago. Then on May 21st, Mio, whatever, recurring revenue growth, payer expansion, and clinical validation drive path to profitability. So their company leverages a first mover advantage in wearable robotics for upper extremity paralysis, expanding market access and recurring revenue streams through payer contracts and referral programs. Product innovation, clinic validation, and operational efficiency drive growth. with a focus on reaching cash flow break-even as recurring revenues rise. Wow. Worrying robotics for upper extremity paralysis. So, you know, things like, I want to say like things like this, where you have something that it gets attached to your arm. It self-exercises. I want to say it's probably something like this. Wireless remote control, autonomous control training intensity. Users can feel according to their own. Control angle and speed without help. Wow. I guess that's an example. Oh, here. Myomo, my own motion. Oh, that's what. Oh, my own motion. Right, that's what it means. Myopro orthosis is for weakened upper extremities. Is a myoelectric powered arm and hand orthosis. A brace designed to help enable function to the wearer's paralyzed or weakened upper extremities, helping individuals perform actions and daily activities that might otherwise be impossible. The MyoPro may also facilitate rehabilitation, including muscle re-education and increasing range of motion. Okay. So the patient's brain is the controller. Non-invasive sensing, EMG signal processing, and MyoPro rewards patient with movement. Oh. What conditions can be helped by the MyoPro orthosis? Most common medical conditions are those involving neuromuscular and neurological disease or injury, including stroke, brachial plexus injury, brain injury, spinal cord injury, and other neurological diseases. Got it. To go. And so this stock has been trending up officially since the end of March, like I said, around 60 cents. Now closing up, what, 154. This is a $59.50 million market cap. Shares flow of 35.80. Okay. Technicals are showing a strong buy. Analysts rating a strong buy with a 1-year price target of $4.42. That's up 187.1%. I see. And yes, I actually have. Oh, they do have options. They do. But then there's no volume in the options, so the spread is kind of weak. The bid and the ask. August 21st, $2 calls. Oh, that could work technically. That could work. Yeah, that could probably work. It's still a big spread, but still, it could make a difference. I'll keep this on the I will keep this on the watch list too. Myomo. Iron has been in the watch list for a long time too. We've been, jeez. Let me see how long we've been talking about iron. Iron, massive news. From the news back in November 3rd, we had posted when they had a $10 billion Microsoft AI deal. CEO Daniel Roberts said they've always viewed the major hyperscalers as natural partners, and that talks have accelerated as compute demand and Iron's AI cloud capabilities expanded. Power has become the pricing layer of intelligence. So when that happened, Iron at the time jumped up 27%, reaching as high as $78. Iron is since then had dropped back down. It closed at 51.52, down 4.63% on the day. Actually looks like it's, like in my point of view, in my opinion, looks like it's topping out. And the last bottom, I want to say somewhere around 32 to 34 bucks. That would be probably like the major support levels, 32 to 34. 46 would just be like the light one, because it does look like it's coming back down. And then it also tracks alongside with Bitcoin, right? Could have sworn it does. 4 hour. Oh yeah. If that trend continues, then you'll probably be seeing a death cross here on the 4 hour. You got the 50 MA approaching the 200. That crosses below the 200, then you'll have a downtrend there. You'll probably be seeing this at 46 if the market continues to become bearish. Especially if Bitcoin does the same thing too. I remember when Iron was like single digits. That's how long we've been talking about it. You see, look here. This was back September 10th of last year. Iron had become a monster Bitcoin miner. And at that time, it was, look at that. It was May of 2025 when it was just below $7. Probably like $5. And then this thing went on a massive run, like for the next couple of months, until it reached like 32.67 and forget about it. Disgusting. Here, look at that. You know what's crazy? Look at this. October 2nd of 2024. I think Bitcoin was on the verge of losing 60K around that time. So a lot of the Bitcoin miners were dropping, including Mara, CleanSpark, Iron, and Riot. Back in September 24th of 2024, at that time, they had achieved 20 ETH hashes per second and on the track for 31. So you can see here on the fourth quarter of 2024, projected to reach 31 ETH hashes. I think that's they call it ETH hashes. Then in 2025, up to 50 ETH hashes. You can imagine how it is now this year. Run it up. What we got here? Oh yeah. So let's see. I mean, shoot. This thing. Iron and IRE. Let's see what IRE is. Oh, that's okay. That's defines daily target 2 times long iron ETF. Got it. Okay. Okay, so it just tracks. It tracks iron. Although this one also looks bearish as it fell just below the 50. It fell below the trend there. Actually, where's the 200 at? Well, I can't even see the 200. But yeah, the Hikanashi candles that you see there on the chart, these bars. This also tells you like the trend where it's going. So once you see the bar called turn red, and you have the signals here, you have the little red X signal there. It's calling for a bearish trend. I mean, eventually it will start to track along with iron and also Bitcoin. So yeah, it's probably just like a cheaper alternative since iron is like 51, 52. I'd probably wait. Oh, this doesn't pay any dividends at all. Oh man. Run it up. Let me get 1 second here. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let's look at I'm gonna look it up here. The guy. Huh. Wow. The guy who made $5.25 billion in 1 year, Leopold Aschenbrenner, just hit $20 billion in AUM. He also recently shared his new positions in first quarter 13F filing. And one of his positions is Iron. And he's up 11.5%, up $401 million. That's insane. He also has SanDisk, Core Scientific. He has Applied Digital, CleanSpark, which is another Bitcoin miner company, and Riot too. This man created one of the best funds and just 23 years old. He definitely knows something. Dude looks AI created. What the hell? Oh, check this out. By investing, when I know when this company is headed, why would I sell? I believe Iron has the potential to be a $200 to $300 stock by 2027. That's my conviction, and short-term volatility isn't changing it. Red days don't scare me. FUD doesn't shake me. Market noise doesn't matter. AI compute with 5.8 gigawatts secured and growing. Also, this guy says Iron could 4x by next year for these reasons. Number one, Sweetwater 1, 1.4 gigawatt was energized on time. 2, the company doubled its power capacity from 2.9 gigawatts to 5.8 gigawatts. Now the largest neocloud in the world, surpassing CoreWeave and Nebius Group. 3, announced building Oklahoma 1.6 gigawatts data center. 4, announced its first data center in Australia, which is 800 megawatts. Raised its ARR from 3.4 billion to 4.4 billion. Acquired Mirantis, which is a strategic partner of NVIDIA. Announced its expansion in Europe. Announced a strategic partnership with NVIDIA to accelerate deployment of up to 5 gigawatts of AI infrastructure. Signed a $3.4 billion deal with NVIDIA. NVIDIA to invest up to $2.1 billion in Iron. Still an option conditional upon deployment of 600,000 GPUs. 11, Sweetwater, 2 gigawatt, selected as a flagship deployment for NVIDIA's DSX AI factory architecture. And number 12, disclosed having a global pipeline. 14 hours ago, it also posted that OpenAI is in talks to lease a 10 gigawatt AI data center in Ohio as NVIDIA discusses credit support. Anyways, Grok and will Iron be $100 stock before the end of this year? Oh, he's asking Grok. That's interesting. Grok says Iron trading $53 to $54, doubling to $100 by end 2026, needs 85% gain in 7 months. Their AI cloud push, NVIDIA, Dell, Microsoft deals, gigawatt scale power, GPU scaling, plus Bitcoin exposure makes it possible in a strong bull case, but analysts' average targets sit around $80 to $85. Extremely volatile, not financial advice. Do your own research. And that sounds bullish on the pivot. Okay. You might have just sold me, Richard. You might have sold me on that race, for real. We'll see. So we'll keep an eye Where is, let me see, weekly. That weekly looks like an inverse head and shoulders, to be honest. Got the head, and then you got the next the right shoulder here forming here. So imagine if that plays out, then you'll get this coming back up to 44. Can you do options on IRE? Let me see something. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can. July 17. That has some volume on the. Oh, damn, that's expensive. Sheesh. Wow. Whoa. Not a lot of volume there, honestly. Let me check iron. Wow. $60 calls, some volume there, and open interest of over 8,500. Also for the $70 call, expiring July 17, 2026. How does January look like? Of course, January 15, 2027 calls with way more open interest. But those premiums, those premiums are way over $1,000 for those calls. Which theoretically, I mean, if it does go up a couple of dollars, you'll be gaining a lot there. You only need just a few percentage up, and that's you'd be good. You'd be Gucci, right? Damn, man, you're pulling out the good plays out here, man. We gotta take it like one thing at a time. This is too much to handle. We gotta save it for another stream, man. Cypher Digital. Right now at $21 stock. It's been, wow, look at this. A 52-week low of $3.29. As a matter of fact, just this past March 31st, this was a low of $1.86 a share. After that, my goodness, where were we when this happened? I'm upset. So many missed opportunities, man. That's insane. But you can definitely see here also, just like the other ticker symbol that we just discussed, there's also some downside here. So, hey, you know what? We take it as another opportunity. Worst bear case scenario, this comes back down to like 14, and at the 200 daily moving average. And that's where it once was before. Honestly, it was ranging within those prices back then in the past, somewhere between 13 and 15, or 13 and 16 bucks, around that range, for a long time. So I wouldn't be surprised, because even on the daily RSI there, it's passed below the neutral level, and there's still some room to come down, in my opinion. But there is a lot of volume still included for the $30 strike calls. Just about 15,000 in volume, and not a lot of barely any volume for any puts, honestly. Let's check the 1 hour real quick. The 1 hour experienced a death cross, a downtrend. Hit as low as $20.12. The last bottom before that was at $17.62. That would technically be considered the next level of support, somewhere around 1762 to 18. Bottoms out again from there, and maybe we'll see a rebound and then go back up. That's what it probably would do theoretically. And it's also oversold on the hourly chart. So we're gonna put also put this on the watch list. What is this? NBIS is badass, but it's too expensive now to buy. All right, we're gonna look at this one, and then we're gonna call it a night. Well, actually, no. I'll look at GME and see how it looks like, because it's still trading in the overnight session. But damn, that's another one, man. That's another good one. Oh, Nebius. Nebius was the one that was mentioned before. Where was it? This guy right here, the guy that has like, the guy that's freaking rich. Where is he? Where'd it go? Damn, where did it go? Yeah, even his oh no, was it this one? Oh no, that the iron had doubled his power capacity more than surpassing CoreWeave and Nebius. But Nebius is still a strong candidate too. NBIS. One name I still don't understand people aggressively buying over the past month is NBIS. The move already happened. Price hit the major upside targets, rejected the 1.618 Fibonacci extension, and has been rolling over since. At some point, you have to accept that the asymmetric part of the trade is gone. Could it go higher eventually? Sure. But chasing after a stock has already made its move is usually how people end up holding the bag instead of finding the next setup before everyone else sees it. You missed the move. I don't know what else to tell you. It's interesting. And then he posts this chart. And the 1.618 Fibonacci extension reached up to 276.63. The 1 Fibonacci extension is sitting around that support level, kind of like what I was talking about before, at around 88, 86, 88. Where is it? Yeah, somewhere around here. This is the weekly chart too. Let's look at the daily. Oh yeah, this actually produced the X signal here, so it's at risk of more downside, in my opinion. Shoot, I'd still put this in the watch list too, and if it ever becomes a cheaper company, even if it falls back down to like the 80s, or if we do end up getting a market crash, how low could this go? From 80s probably back to like the 40s, which is a crazy it's a crazy prediction there. Probably would have never thought about that, but who knows? That's why I'm just gonna leave this there. We'll see what happens. All right. Last but not least, we'll see what we'll check out Any latest from X.com? Is that actual footage? You know, sometimes sometimes I wouldn't know it whether if it's actual footage or just fake footage from like some other timeline. These people are just retarded. So stupid. The generation is so ass right now. Anyways, June 14th, Polymarket. Trump reveals his one birthday wish is quote unquote peace for the world ahead of his 80th on Sunday. So on July 4th, said by U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent that he will sign the Clarity Act. If it is price before law, it could be June 14, the 21st, or the 22nd. June 14th, is that somebody's birthday? Oh yeah. Let's see what else. Let's listen to this real quick. I haven't watched this yet.
When the war is over, it's coming down. I know you can. It's going to come down like a rock. And again, we're taking out millions, which I'm just announcing today for the first time. But we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Millions of barrels. Every night we took out oil. But now I'm going to tell you because they just figured it out. So now that they figured it out, I can tell you. It was very hard for me. I wanted to say it so badly, but I didn't want to ruin it. But it was very hard. But millions of barrels of oil has come out. And that's why it's at $85, $90 a barrel instead of $250. But we have the greatest military in the world, the toughest military in the world, just the best in every way. Nobody even close. There's no military that's even close. I rebuilt it during my first term. I'm using it now. When this conflict is over, Todd said, please go into conflict, right? As opposed to the word war. He didn't like the word war, but it's sort of a conflict. It's a military operation. When it's over, you will see oil drop to where it was before.
Tag, David, business contributor Katrina Campins recently closed on a Boca Raton home for a buyer using Bitcoin. The price tag, David, $4.2 million. And while vetting the funds was the hardest part, the sale closed in just, get this, 23 days, faster than some traditional deals.
Now calling on getting some news on SpaceX this morning. One prominent senator now calling for an IPO delay. Our Eamon Javers has that for us. Eamon, 12-page letter here, heavily footnoted.
Yeah, good morning, Carl. This is a letter from Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren to the Commissioner of the Securities and Exchange Commission, asking the commission to delay Friday's SpaceX IPO, citing investor protection concerns. Elizabeth Warren, in this letter, citing a number of factors she says warrant a delay in the IPO, including the company's valuation. She says market analysts have raised concerns about the math underlying SpaceX's target valuation. She raises concerns about governance structure, saying publicly traded companies are meant to be accountable to their shareholders. The SpaceX IPO will flip this model on its head, with shareholders providing billions of dollars investment option. They're concerned that major stock market indexes are being rigged in a way that would force millions of investors in passive index funds, a generally lower cost investment option that can be attractive to retail investors.
Companies, and what could this partnership look like?
About AI? Well, I can say this. We're having a meeting with them. It's an amazing industry. It's bigger than any industry anyone's ever seen. We are leading China by a lot. And, you know, whoever leads that is going to really lead the world to a large extent. That's how big it is. I'm going to have meetings with the top 12 or 15 executives very shortly. And we're talking about giving back something to the public. And if we do that, the public will become very rich, the people in our country, because that's the kind of money we're talking about. And I think they'll do that, and I think it'll make it very popular.
What would you like that
Please.
Companies, and what could this partnership look like?
About AI? Well, I can say this. We're having a meeting with them. It's an amazing industry. It's bigger than any industry anyone's ever seen.
When you tried to get rich with crypto,
We tried, right?
I tried.
We did our best. That's all
I
that
did my
matters.
best. Tried.
Maybe next year we'll come back and try it
Next
again.
year. I'll come back and I'll try it next year.
oh man. What is this? Miami Beach is getting buried in sargassum seaweed. Massive brown piles washing up along the shore, creating that signature rotten egg smell and turning paradise into a cleaned up zone. 2026 is shaping up to be one of the worst years yet. My goodness. Oh, look at this. Yes, there will be a 2 times short SpaceX ETF, which will trade under the ticker SSPC. Disclosure, leverage shares is a Wolf partner. This is just for informational purposes, not investment advice. Not financial advice. Someone's like, I actually may go in, all in, right after launch. It's Tesla Q all over again. So yeah, SSPC. Let me see if that's actually up yet. Oh, it's not. No, not yet. Not yet. Anyways, let's look quickly at what's going on with SPY real quick. Oh, by the way, D-Nut, Krispy Kreme. That trend looks pretty juicy, not gonna lie. The 50 did cross over the 200 in a bullish crossover. And it actually poked right through the 200 EMA, also with the other EMAs crossing over. which I'd suppose could break $4 easy tomorrow if that's the case. Which would be actually something pretty cool. There's actually a big gap, by the way, that still exists here, right around 725 all the way to 830, around that range. So who knows? Who knows if Krispy Kreme could cream a lot of holes in their donuts and see a couple of dollars up in the future and become profitable again. Also, let's see what else we got. So we have GameStop just slightly down, 22.39. So there's nothing going on with this stock. Just no volume. AMC still at $2.08. It did actually go up 7.22%. But nothing too crazy. If you think 7% was a big deal, think again, because it's not. It's just a small move. If you want to make it a big deal, then maybe if you see it go up 20, 30, 50, 100%, then yeah, that's a big deal. But 7%, just a small move in my opinion. And that's about it. Oh, also, Sun Nation here. I know this was mentioned earlier before. Sun, SUNE, Sun Nation Energy. It's another way to keep track. At $2.60, went down to $2.44 in the after hours. Holding on to dear life. You can barely see how the chart even looks like before. It was at a low at 67 cents. But it did drop dramatically, almost 27% under red, which is nasty. So a total of 32%. Disgusting. And I think that's it. That's all that we can cover right now so far. So I'm gonna call it a night, you guys. And it's almost 11 p.m. Eastern time. I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining this segment of the Lion's Den here with yours truly, LionOfAllTradez. Wishing you all the best tomorrow and a profitable Thursday. Please, again, just whatever, if anything, listen, please. If anything happens to one of your stocks, and if you're wondering why it's dropping or why it's going up, please reference the overall market. Alright? Unless there's some type of big news, a catalyst, something major, and all of a sudden your stock blows up 20, 30, 40% in a few minutes, then that is when you can, jump for joy and be happy and take your profits. But for now, just reference the overall market and the trends and what it's doing. And the PPIs tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning Eastern time. And we're 1 day away, well, technically 1.5 day away from the SpaceX IPO. Also, we're going to see what oil does between now and Friday. And if we're going to actually see oil surge back to 95, even up to 100. But yeah, that's all I got for tonight. Thank you all. Fishy, appreciate you. Richard, thank you. And thank you for joining and being a part of the Lion's Den. Shout out to you and for sharing all those tickers, those bangers. Especially MTEN and SDOT from a few days ago, for calling those out before the big surge. Thank you for that. Fishy, thank you for your intel as well, or your information. Let's not put too much out there in the chat. So we have the Discord. available. We'll have all the information set in there, and we'll talk more in there later on tomorrow. Adrian, shout out to you. Matt K, thank you for popping up into the stream. Keep grinding. I know you're working hard in a new job, and all the best. Moisley, shout out to you. Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to Zelly. And shout out to TP. Shout out to Mark R. And shout out to Jesse. And shout out to TP. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to everybody. Everybody who's showed up here, who hasn't showed up here. You guys are in my thoughts, and hopefully everything goes well this week. These next 2 days for you guys. Wishing you all the best. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Love you all. And yeah, we'll see you on the next stream. Here in the Lion's Den with yours truly, Lion of All Trades. And just know that everything and anything said in the stream, of course, I gotta say it, just all strictly in my opinion, not financial advice. Always do your own research, your ODD on all of that stuff. You're your own decision maker of your own investments and your money. As long as you're being profitable, you're managing your risk, and you're setting your limits. Do not trade on emotions. Do not trade based on other people's emotions. Do not trade based on somebody else's emotions who can't control themselves and makes others panic and lose their shit because they didn't know what to do. And that's my advice. And stay locked in, stay focused, and be safe. Y'all have a great night. Y'all take care. Love you all. And see you on the next one. Peace out.
LionOfAllTradez.